Hello there everyone, it's Aaron here from Push Square, and today I've got an exciting one for you because our very own Liam Croft has had some hands-on time with Spider-Man 2 on the PS5. So today's video is his preview, adapted into video by yours truly, with some B-roll footage of the game sent along by Sony. So that's not our captured footage, it's B-roll sent by Sony. So let's get right into it with our thoughts on Spider-Man 2. So, given the presumably mammoth sales projections that Sony has for this PS5 exclusive, playing too fast and loose with the open world formula at Insomniac Games was probably out of the question. This is a franchise that shifts hardware, and after a slightly lighter year on the content side for PlayStation Studios, this title is a beaming light at the end of the tunnel. A portion of sales is pretty much guaranteed based on the name alone, but the rest will flock when its quality is realised. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is a sequel that builds upon past entries in all the right ways. Safe but supremely solid in some, and excitingly daring in others. While just a taste was on display at a recent preview event, it exhibited why the joint adventure of Peter Parker and Miles Morales is yet another Game of the Year contender. We played just over 3 hours of the game, dabbling with its main story, open world and optional activities. The build, which was roughly 6 weeks old at the time of play, began a few hours into the narrative, with the two Spider-Men on completely different courses through life. Peter is handling a relationship with MJ and the return of his lifelong friend Harry Osborn, while Miles is trying to get through college. What brings them together is a new threat to New York: Kraven. With all the high production values you'd expect out of a Sony published experience, the series of missions we worked through were gripping, thoroughly enjoyable and entertaining even without the context of the game's opening. We found ourselves seamlessly slipping back into the world of Marvel's Spider-Man, remembering the controls and basic abilities without the need for tutorials. It speaks to how the whole of Marvel's Spider-Man 2 operates, the fond memories you have of the first two titles, but bigger, better, perfected. The open world is the best demonstration of that. The original map returns, but it's been upgraded with much more to see and do, along with 5 new districts that expand its size by roughly 50%. Web-slinging through the streets and across its rooftops feels absolutely phenomenal, and new ways of getting about enhance that euphoria. At any moment you can ditch the swinging for Peter or Miles' new web wings, allowing you to glide about the city and catch huge airtime through slipstreams and open air vents. Time it right and you won't even lose any height. It's an exhilarating feeling, heightened by haptic feedback implementation. You can feel when Spider-Man reaches the apex of his swing when he's hurtling down to the ground. Combat has its own little rumbles and vibrations too, which, just like Traversal, borrows the base set of moves from the first game and lets fights flourish with a truckload of new abilities. The most obvious are the new skills Peter Parker has picked up from the symbiote, which are excellent for crowd control. Using its tentacles, you're able to damage multiple goons at once, either slamming into them, throwing them around, and pounding them down into the ground. All operating on a cooldown, you can use them in tandem with Spider-Man's gadgets to devastating effects during brawls. The standard enemies you come up against have also had a bit of an upgrade in the 9 months since the Miles Morales story took place, with new heavy attacks designed to break your health bar in two. A new parry system is how you'll deny them of that, pressing L1 when the screen flashes red. Having said that, a mission will sometimes ask you to ignore all of that for a quieter approach. An enhanced stealth system means you're no longer restrained by the confines of a building you're in. Now you can create your own paths in the rafters with deployable web lines to walk across. This makes keeping quiet so much more viable for virtually every combat encounter, since you'll be creating the paths instead of having them dictated to you. You can say the same for your main character, at least to a point. In the demo we played, you were always required to bring a specific Spider-Man to the mission's start point, but you're free to choose either Peter or Miles during general open world exploration. This is done through the FNSM app, your in-game mobile phone, with a prompt at the bottom letting you switch between the two. We tested this transition multiple times throughout the preview, and control was never taken away from us for more than roughly 3 seconds. Spider-Man 2 adopts the GTA 5 approach where whenever you're about to switch characters, the one you're assuming control of is always caught in the act of something. Just a couple of examples we saw were Miles leaving the subway and Peter scaring off a flock of pigeons. It's a fun feature that's implemented really well, never breaking immersion with a load screen. And while much of it is lifted from the first game, the open world is the cherry on top of how Spider-Man 2 goes above and beyond its predecessors. Rather than marking all the collectibles, side quests and other activities on the map straight away, you now must properly explore New York to find them. As you're swinging through the streets of many boroughs, you'll spot interactive elements, giving off a sort of large neon sign in the environment. Head over to these and you'll find collectibles and extra objectives to complete, all working towards that 100% completion. We found photo ops, spider bots and tech parts to collect during our 3-hour play session, but the map hinted at many more things that we could find. It all comes together to form an example of a current open world formula at its absolute peak. With outstanding traversal options, an interesting city to explore and constant enjoyment to be had, its open-ended design perfected. The game gets a little more daring when it flirts with the design philosophy of an Elden Ring or The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, handing you control of discoveries and secrets. Spider-Man 2 doesn't go all the way with it, but there's a tease there, and it makes for a world much more interesting to just simply exist in. Not everything is spoon-fed to you, and it benefits from that. What elevates the package to stardom though is that Insomniac Games has managed to accomplish both sides of the coin. Its exceptional open world already appears ready for launch, and it's coupled with the first-rate cinematics and story of a PlayStation Studios experience. When you enter a handcrafted main mission with its own unique interior and set of cutscenes, you can feel the effort that's gone into perfecting every camera angle, every dialogue read. Marvel Spider-Man 2 is Insomniac Games at its absolute peak, and it's shaping up to be its best game to date. The question of whether the developer can make that jump or swing into the space that Naughty Dog currently occupies with its 10 out of 10 ratings and 90+ Metacritic score is always on the tip of our tongues. In Marvel Spider-Man 2, it seems to have its answer. What we played was outstanding. It's an experience primed for the top and an example of the best this industry has to offer. All we need now is the final product to confirm our confidence in Insomniac Games. Well folks, I don't know about you, but I am pretty damn excited for this game. Be sure to leave a like, let us know what you're thinking about the gameplay you saw today down in the comments section, and if you want to stay up to date with everything there is to know about Spider-Man 2, then be sure to subscribe to us here on Push Square because we are going to be covering this game quite a lot. Anyway folks, I hope you enjoyed the video, thank you as always for watching, and until next time, I've been Aiden, and this has been Push Square.